Welcome back to Weekly Willy Nilly. Today we're going to talk about Black History Month, a little bit of history, a few definitions that are completely necessary. We've got a couple people that we want to talk about as well. And then we are adding a new segment at the end. So make sure you watch all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and hit that little like button. Give us that thumbs up.
Subscribe.
Make
sure you subscribe.
A little bit of history regarding Black History Month. Carter G. Woodson, also known as the father of Black history, he actually dubbed one single week of February, and it encompasses Abe Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass's birthday. Abraham Lincoln's birthday is February 12th, and Frederick Douglass actually doesn't know when his actual birthday is. He was born enslaved, unfortunately, and he chose his birthday to be celebrated on February 14th. So for that little week, Carter Woodson, he established Negro History Week in 1926. Thankfully, we have progressed, and there was some progression throughout time. President Ford is the one that actually declared February, the entire month, as Black History Month in 1976. With a little bit of history established, there's a few definitions that I think are super necessary. What do you yes, no,
Yes,
maybe
yes,
so?
yes, because like I said in other episodes, sometimes people use words that they don't know the meaning to. And I think that people need to know what the words mean. I didn't know what one of them meant. So education, educate yourself.
And by no means do we think you are ignorant or dumb in any shape, form, or fashion. It's just a little education. That's all it is. And share it with your friends.
Yeah.
For sure. Share it with your friends. So the first definition, I'm going to read it. The first definition is racism. The practice of discriminating against people based on their race or ethnic background. That's pretty, I think everybody knows the definition of racism.
That's their skin.
Yeah, based on their race, the color of their skin, their ethnicity,
where they're from.
Yeah, there's a lot of
all the things that doesn't fully make a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The second definition that I think is important is systemic racism. Systemic racism, also known as institutional racism, is a form of racism embedded in the laws and regulations of a society or organization. It manifests as discrimination in areas such as criminal justice, employment, housing, healthcare, education, and political representation. That's a big one.
I think that's the one I didn't know the definition to. And that one's the most important because it trickles. Mm-hmm. It trickles down.
It's embedded.
Yeah, it's woven into it.
With racism, just as a whole, in my personal opinion, hatred is a learned behavior. We can kill that easily. We can kill that.
Oh yeah, that could be
teach people to do better.
Yeah.
Don't teach hate. But the systemic racism, that's going to be a little bit more difficult to...
Because that's above our pay grade.
Weed out. It's not above our pay grade if we were to all vote
exactly
and band together and do those type of things. But it's hard to organize. Really, really hard to organize. So the third definition is kind of a touchy subject to a lot of people. I recognize it. I hope that a lot of you recognize it. White, black, brown, purple. I hope everyone kind of recognizes this one. White privilege. Inherent advantages possessed by a white person on the basis of their race in a society characterized by racial inequality. People say that white privilege doesn't exist because I'm poor and I had to work hard for whatever it is that I have now. Good job. That's great.
Glad you did that.
Black people have to work harder.
And it shouldn't be that way.
It should not. An example that I have experienced personally, I am not black. I am white, obviously, if you're looking at our YouTube video.
Iridescent would be the better term.
Ghostly. So I have experienced a little taste of what the counterexample of white privilege is. My name is Nakia. That is not a common white name. Anytime, this speaks so much of our area.
Yeah.
Anytime as a kid, like I'm talking grade school age, so we're talking early 90s,
yeah,
late 80s, early 90s in Ashland, Kentucky. Anytime my friends would ask their parents if I could spend the night, one of the first 3 questions was, is she black?
Based on her name.
Based on my name. That's the first little example that I've experienced of that. And the second one is job opportunities. My friends have always had better job opportunities because their names are readable and pronounceable easily.
Your parents were hippy dippies.
My parents are awesome. Yeah, white privilege. It exists. And I don't know how to get that across to some people.
I think that some people don't exactly know what white privilege is. When we were doing the research for this, I had to see what the actual, like, what it looked like.
Yeah.
Like, what white privilege looked like. Because at first I was like, everybody else, like, I don't have a privilege. I've worked really hard for where I'm at.
Yeah.
But something as simple as getting an interview when somebody else doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when they handed in their application, they saw that they were black and I was white. And I mean, I've had that on a level with being gay.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's similar.
I actually had a boss tell me, you will never be more than what you are because of how you look and because you're a lesbian.
I remember that. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Those are a few definitions that I think are very, very important. There are so many more, and we can absolutely expand on this. I will actually expand on this in a month other than February, because we should be doing this 365 days a year, 24 hours in a 7-day week.
You should be a nice human all the time.
Period.
Not just in a month.
And ways that you can do that: support Black-owned business. Include everyone on the conversation.
Volunteer for Black nonprofits.
Learn.
Educate yourself.
I don't know what to say other than that. I don't understand how we are still in this situation. I just don't understand.
Because it hasn't gone away. Like it's gotten, not slavery, but is it really?
Honestly, those little experiences that I just shared, that's all I don't experience anything like that other than, prejudice, bigotry from being queer. So with those definitions out of the way, we have a few people that we would like to acknowledge. Everyone knows who Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is. Everybody should know who Frederick Douglass is, and Rosa Parks, and Harriet Tubman, and all of the hugely known abolitionists, Underground Railroad, just revolutionaries in general.
And we think they're important too.
Oh, absolutely.
We just feel like there's other people that aren't brought to light so much.
Absolutely.
That people need to know about.
So we picked a couple that kind of resonate with us. Paula, who do you want to start with?
Angela Davis. She was a civil rights activist in the late 60s and 70s. She was part of the Black Panthers. She was a communist.
Awesome words.
Communism. Communism isn't as bad as what people make it out to be. She's a major figure in the prison abolition movement. She was imprisoned in 1971. She was accused of buying the guns in this big holdup. She was put on FBI list. She was in prison for 2 years. She was acquitted. So she knows firsthand about the prison system and how it works.
The ins and outs and how flawed it is.
Yeah. She's now a professor. She got fired from the University of California for her belief in communism. And then years later, she went back. She's now a professor there again. She's incredibly bright. She's a feminist. She considers herself a true feminist. That there's mainstream feminism.
Oh yeah.
It's very superficial,
Cookie
cookie
cutter.
cutter. She's incredibly bright. She's got a quote, and it made me think that maybe I've been doing my recovery all wrong this whole time. Not detrimental wrong, in the fact that I relapsed or nothing, but okay. So you know the Serenity Prayer, right?
Yes.
Wisdom to change the thing, or accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today. She has a different twist on the acceptance, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. I am no longer accepting the things I cannot change. I am changing the things I cannot accept. Which, I mean, that spells out the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
That spells it out.
Mm-hmm.
They were no longer willing to accept.
Second class.
Yeah. I just think she's really, really incredibly bright. I recommend highly for people to get on YouTube and hear some of her speeches and hear some of her. She's written many books, lots of books. She's really intelligent.
Yeah,
just really intelligent, and I dig intelligent people.
For sure. It inspires me.
Yeah.
It challenges my thoughts, and that's growth to me.
Well, she's a complete inspiration.
So the person that I want to talk about is Rose Marie McCoy. She wrote and produced some of the biggest pop songs in the 50s. She wrote a couple for other people, too, that we'll talk about here in a second. Gavin Blues and After All. Those are some of her songs that she actually wrote, produced, and sang and played all the parts or whatever. I think she was.
Looks like you're playing piano.
I think she was a pianist.
She's a pianist?
I think she was a pianist. I'm pretty sure. But I do know that she wrote and produced some of the biggest pop songs in the 50s. One of the most popular that you might recognize would be Elvis Presley's Trying to Get to You. Now you know the black woman's name that wrote it. Rose Marie McCoy. Who else you got? You got another one?
You know who I'm going to talk about.
Here we go. Brace yourself, people.
Oprah
is awesome.
Oprah is who I'm going to talk about. Oprah. Because she isn't just, it's not just because, she does the you get a car and you get a car and we all get a car. That's not it. That's not it about Oprah. Oprah, actually on her birth certificate, it is Orpah. It's just people have mispronounced her name for so long that she just went with it.
How is it spelled?
Orpah. Yeah. Orpah.
Okay.
So Orpah. I can't do it. I can't. It's Oprah.
It's
Oprah. So my favorite fact about Oprah is that her IQ is 140. That's a high IQ. It only goes to 160.
It might go higher. Further. No.
No, it goes 160. I looked it up.
Okay.
But she's just, to me, she's super inspirational. She came from literally wearing potato sacks, okay, to what she is now. And it's not due to anything other than hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work and belief that she could.
And intelligence.
She is very intelligent. She makes all the right moves. Even her, leaving the show and then going and starting a whole network. Like, who does that? Who's got the kahoonies to go start a whole new network?
Oprah does.
Oprah does. Oprah's got all the kahoonies. Maybe she don't. I don't think she's got kahoonies.
If that's disrespectful,
I'm sorry.
she doesn't.
I'm sorry. But it takes a lot of guts. A lot of guts.
A lot of guts, a lot of glory.
Yeah, I mean that's a big risk.
Mm-hmm.
She is the first black billionaire. She is the richest black lady in the world.
Which is awesome.
She also, so...
That seems very, like, monetary.
Yeah, it's monetary. And it's, I don't say it in a way of, hey, she got all the monies. Yeah. I say it in a way that she worked really freaking hard and got, and jumped hurdles that we don't have to jump.
Yeah.
So her show ran from 1986 to 2011. And then she started her own network because she's Oprah. She's that cool. So, like, what really, like, drew me to Oprah was before I would do groups when I first started facilitating, I would play a video just because this is how it was done with me when I was in treatment. I'd play an inspirational, motivational video. Mm-hmm. I got looking at them one night and I started listening to Oprah's speeches,
right?
Like her college commencements. There we go. And she started talking about how she's got a painting in part of her house that she can't leave or come into her house without seeing it. And it's done that way purposely. It's a picture of a painting of a mother and a daughter on the slave block. Then she's got a list in this cabinet in her house of slave name. It's like it's a trader, like a farmer's trader. Mm-hmm. And right with the farm equipment, the cows, all that is also slave names. And she reads them out loud to show that they were human. Yeah. To recognize that they were human and that somebody cared, somebody saying your name. I just got a lot of respect for her after that. She taught me a lot about gratitude. Like that whole speech she was talking about being grateful and showing gratitude. I just think she's genius. And she literally is.
Her IQ proves it.
140. I'm going to get her IQ tattooed on me. Yeah, Oprah.
If you listening,
right there.
Hit your girl up.
On this arm.
Boy, oh boy.
No, I just think I would love to pick her brain. Like, nobody picks her brain. She picks everybody else's, but nobody picks hers back. I'd love to pick her brain.
Yeah. Except
I would probably freeze and be like,
words and stuff.
Words, stuff, Oprah. That's all I could get out. Oprah.
And bow.
Hi, Oprah. And I'll bow. Because that's what I do when I'm nervous.
True story. Love her heart. True story.
Hi.
Hi. It's great. I love it though. It's great.
It's part of my charm.
Yeah. It is. It totally is.
That's what I tell myself. Is that all the things that I do,
all
the quirky things, I'm like, it's part of your charm.
Yeah.
Either that or you're on the spectrum. One of the two.
Spectrum. Either way,
again.
I think we say spectrum every video.
And Oprah.
For sure, Oprah.
So who else do you have to talk about?
It's kind of hard to follow up after Oprah.
I know. I'm just saying.
But I took it back in the day. I took it kind of far back in the day.
She went really old school.
But she tugged at my heartstrings.
It was really cool, though.
She tugs at my heartstrings. Her name is Phyllis Wheatley. We're talking back in 1761. Long time ago.
That's before we were even the United States. It was 1776.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. We were colonies at that point.
Yeah. So Phyllis Wheatley was captured in West Africa. She was taken to Boston. She arrived in the ship called Phyllis. That's how she got her name, actually. They named her Phyllis. She was enslaved by a tailor named John Wheatley and his wife, Susanna. The coolest part about Phyllis Wheatley is she actually received an education while she was enslaved by these people, which was very uncommon.
I was gonna say it's super uncommon.
I don't know. I would like to see and delve into how that looked and what that, what it looked like.
Or if they had any repercussions for that, or if
right, the family, if it was their choice or if it was a thing that had to. I just want to know more of how that looks and what that looked like.
You just want to know Phyllis, like I want to know Oprah.
Yeah. We connected through those words somehow. But yeah, she was brought to Boston on the Phyllis. So Phyllis Wheatley, the cool thing about her was she was actually educated in this home. Very uncommon for enslaved people. Obviously, it's like the 1700s. They don't want them to be educated. Their argument was that Black people were not smart enough, didn't have the intellectual integrity to take care of themselves, to be functioning citizens of the United States on their own. That was part of the argument. So to have someone in that time frame be educated and master the English language in 2 years, that's pretty incredible.
I'm 40 and I don't have it down.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, obviously. Obviously.
Drugs are bad, words are hard.
So 2 years she mastered the English language. She then took on Greek. She took on Latin. She ruffled some feathers of some Boston scholars by translating poetry from Ovid, the Roman poet. Pretty incredible stuff. And her name is Phyllis Wheatley. Her books, not books. She had a book of poetry published. First Black woman to have a book of poetry published, and that was in 1773.
And the first woman, right? Period.
I can't remember if she was the first woman, period, but I know she was the first Black woman to ever have.
Well, it was 17 something.
Yeah, 1773. I would imagine she's very much a pioneer.
We didn't even have a flag yet.
Probably not.
We didn't.
Yeah.
We didn't get it until way later.
Yeah. So, good stuff. She was very focused on religion and morality, and that's probably my connection with her. She wrote letters back and forth with George Washington. Real cool chick. Super cool chick. I can only imagine.
Yo, what up, Phyllis? Washington here.
Yeah.
Your boy Wash.
Hey, how you doing?
I mean, yeah.
Can you imagine communicating with
the president
Washington?
like it's cool?
Yeah.
The first president. Not just any president, but the first one.
Phyllis Wheatley. Good stuff.
I think she's a good one.
Yeah, and just to kind of put that in perspective on time frame, slavery wasn't abolished until 1865.
Yeah, so almost 100 years before that, because that was 1773.
Yeah, it's
close to
100. Close in there. That's
1865. Yeah, it was
1865.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my two people, Rose Marie McCoy, and Phyllis Wheatley, and you've got Angela
Davis and Oprah. I always have Oprah.
Gotta love Oprah. Which, dig a little deeper. Figure out who else contributed to.
Oh, yeah, because we found slews of people. We just didn't have time frame for it.
We don't have time to go through everybody.
But it was, there's just so many people that it shouldn't.
Oh, who was the dude that invented the guitar?
The guitar. Yeah, the guitar.
Robert F. Fleming Jr. He called it the Euphonica, and he said that it would produce more sound than the traditional guitar. So I guess it was the hollow body, like acoustic style guitar that we know today somewhat. It seemed like it had a little longer butt on it, like, the shape of a guitar.
Yeah.
And at the bottom there was a little nub of some sort. I don't know. I got to look into that more. But yeah, there's so many cool people that have contributed to evolution and inventions and just beautiful things.
Spark plugs,
yeah, invented by a Black man. But I really hope in my lifetime that I get to see where we don't have to say.
Yeah. We don't have to say straight, gay. We don't have to say black, white. We don't have to keep people in these
It
boxes.
is what it is.
Church
Church
of
of
God.
You know, whatever it might be. Whatever it might be. Now that we've covered that stuff, I'd like to introduce a new segment that we're going to do periodically. We may not do it every episode, but I think it's a good way to interact with you guys. We're going to call it Eyes on Your Own Paper. We're going to ask you a question. We'll give you a little bit of backstory, just some facts and things of that nature. And then we're going to ask you a question, and I want you to leave it in the comments down below. What is your answer? So, what do we got going on today?
All right. So, in the 1700s, 1700s, they had slave police. They were called slave patrol. And what they were, their mission statement, and I wrote it down, let me read it. Their mission statement was to establish a system of terror in response to the slaves' uprising. That was their mission statement.
So anybody that stuck out, beat them down.
Yeah, beat them down. So what we want to know is, do you all see any correlation between that mentality of policing in today's policing? Do you see it? I mean, not like just across the board. I mean, do you see the authority being taken to a different level?
That's a good question.
I'd just like to get everybody's view on it because my perspective has broadened. And I mean, in 2022, 1,176 people were shot by police.
That's 1,176 people shot by police. And I'm not going to say even shot. Killed.
Those were killed.
At the hands of the police. 1,176 people in 2022.
And 68% of them were not offending at all. They weren't breaking any laws. They weren't doing anything at all. They were basically damn near unprovoked.
68%?
It was 68%.
Ooh, that does not look good.
Yeah, it was because it was only 32% of them were they got called there for a reason.
Alleged
crime. Yeah.
Wow. Wowza. So yeah, eyes on your own paper. Let us know. Do you think that there's a correlation between slave patrol and police officers today?
All right, guys, that's it for this one. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others. Please continue to like, subscribe, download, all the things. We really appreciate all the views, all the anything. We appreciate all kinds of stuff. Support. There it is. That's the word I was looking for. Support. We appreciate it all. And don't forget to visit our website, weeklywillynilly.com. You can contact us through there. You can contact us through YouTube, Facebook, TikTok.
Unless they ban it.
Ban what? Oh, TikTok.
That's in the news everywhere.
I don't watch the news. I don't.
Yeah. I try to avoid it, but
it brings me down. I don't like it.
Well.
But thanks.
Like all that stuff.
You got to like it, and then you got to hit the button.
Post notifications. I forgot about that.
What?
Post notifications. So when you subscribe, you click the little bell. The little bell, you want the little squiggly lines beside the bell, because that notifies you when we post.
Yeah.
When we go live. You never know when that might happen.
We might go live. You never know.
You never know. It could happen.
I might go live when I get to meet Oprah.
If you're listening.
I won't share it with nobody. I'm going to be selfish.
You would share that with everybody.
I would show.
Yeah, you would show anybody and everybody that would listen.
Strangers, I'd be like, look,
check this out. So yeah, have a good night, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this.